and I understand the purpose of why the bill is drafted as it is, but looking out in the future, and if the Senate should decide that this is a good thing to do, I just want to be sure that we're not moving money out of the P3 provisions, and that's what it says, that under no conditions, and I understand the State Budget Act, been here a lot of years, but that just restricts that money, that it cannot be used for this purpose, and I would ask for your support.
Representative Davis, please state your purpose.
Speak on the amendment.
The gentleman is recognized to debate the amendment.
I'd ask the House to support Representative Howard's amendment, and I do as well.
Representative Collins. The question before the House is the passage of the perfecting amendment to the amendment sent forth by Representative Davis to the House Committee Substitute Number 2 for Senate Bill 744. All in favor vote aye. All opposed vote no. The clerk will open the vote. Clerk will lock machine record the vote. 82 having voted in the affirmative, 34 in the negative. The perfecting amendment passes. We are now back on the main amendment as amended. Representative Collins, please state your purpose.
I ask the amendment sponsor a question.
Representative Davis, does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
The gentleman yields.
Representative Davis, okay, it did come back up. Just have a question. I'm trying to understand what's on line 27 on page 1. It says that this money will not be used for grants of more than certain dollars, $5 million for a feature-length film. The next part is the one I'm a little concerned about. It says more than $5 million for a single episode of a television or video production. Does that mean that in a typical, I think it's maybe 13 episode, or not, some are 9 episodes, some are 13 episode seasons, that we could be out for as much as $65 million for a single television production?
No, sir.
Could I have a follow-up then? Could you tell me what that means then?
$5
million per episode? Is there a limit to how many episodes we'll support?
You'll look at the next page, please.
Okay. I didn't see it. That's why I asked.
Two episodes for 5 million.
Could I just make a concluding statement and we'll not look for anything?
I think the gentleman withdraws his question. The gentleman is recognized to debate the amendment.
That's just one of the things. I have a feeling this is probably going to go to conference. That's one thing I'd like for our conferees to get nailed down, is to make sure that we don't have unlimited exposure on. I mean, if this were my television production company, I'd try to make 30 episodes in a season if I could get $5 million for each one of them. So I'd like to make sure that one gets tightened up.
Representative Eiler, please state your purpose.
To debate the amendment.
The gentleman is recognized to debate the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've debated this subject before, and Representative McComas was here, and I'm going to say about the same thing, but a little bit differently. In my opinion, I don't like this approach to start with. My opinion was to extend the deadline we have for 6 more years, give them certainty, and quit confusing the issue. But I will go along with whatever we can get. We'll take a half a loaf or whatever, because you're talking about 4,200 jobs. It's like closing a pillow tax or another industry and sending them to Georgia. And I made an analogy of, it's like Star Wars and Georgia's the evil empire. And they're coming up here to capture 4,000 plus of our jobs. And they're doing a good job of it. They've already built a Screen Gem studio similar to what we have, not quite as good. The producers, the Pinewood Studios, are building there. The James Bond, Harry Potter folks in the Atlanta area. The fellow that produces the Medea movies has built facilities there. I understand Home Depot is building a superstore right next to Screen Gems, reason being that they sell a lot of lumber, which is now being sold to people in Wilmington. So all that's moving out of state if we don't do something reasonable to keep these folks here. And the only study, folks, that's been done outside the Ivory Tower in Raleigh, an economic study by Dr. Hanfield at NC State, says that we're getting $1.52 back for every dollar that we're investing. I don't like that word investing. Every dollar that we're giving out, we get $1.52 back. That's a pretty darn good return. It also says he's discovered so far, I think it's very low, $10 in the economy for every dollar spent. So I think he's just scratched the surface because he only had a few months to complete that study. So folks, just think about what you're doing if you don't do anything, and what you're doing if you don't do enough to stay in the running, and Georgia is after us. And I want us to have a little bit of pride in North Carolina. I love Georgia. I got relatives in Georgia. My relatives came from there. Some of them did. But I love North Carolina a whole lot more. Thank you.